When my father passed away, I thought the worst pain I would feel was losing him. I was wrong. The real pain came when I learned what my own family did to me. I was always the quiet one. The son who didn't cause trouble, who studied hard, who moved away to build a life. My brother, Mark, and sister, Julia, stayed close to my parents. I thought they looked after Dad in his final years. But what I didn't know was that while I was away, they had been whispering in his ear, convincing him that I didn't care, that I didn't deserve the family estate, the land, or the business he had built. So when the will was read, I sat in shock as the lawyer declared that nearly everything, our childhood home, the farmland, and even Dad's antique collection, was going to them. All I got was a small financial settlement. The smug looks on their faces cut deeper than any knife. Mark leaned over and whispered, "Guess that's what happens when you're never around." But what they didn't know was this. My father trusted me more than anyone. And though the official will favored them, Dad had left behind private letters, instructions, and documents with his personal lawyer. Ones even my siblings didn't know existed. And that was the start of my cold payback. The lawyer handed me a sealed envelope after the reading. Inside was a note from Dad, written in his careful handwriting. "If they betray you, remember, knowledge is power. The land is yours by right. Use the papers wisely." Attached were deeds, financial statements, and one golden key detail. Mark and Julia had already been drowning in debt. They needed that inheritance not to live, but to survive. So I planned my trap. A month later, I reached out to them. I pretended to accept my small settlement, playing the role of the defeated brother. I even congratulated them on their good fortune, making sure they believed I had moved on. But secretly, I was laying the groundwork. I had a lawyer friend draft some business contracts. On the surface, they looked like investment agreements, opportunities for them to use their inheritance to partner with me in a new venture. But in reality, hidden in the clauses and fine print, were transfer of ownership agreements. Signing them would mean handing the estate, the land, and the collection back to me. I knew they'd never agree if they suspected the truth. So I baited them with what they craved most: money. At a family dinner, I casually mentioned that I'd been in talks with developers interested in buying farmland in the area. Their eyes lit up immediately. Mark asked, "Developers? Like serious ones?" I nodded. "They're offering way above market value. But they only want to deal with me. Problem is, I don't have the property." Julia leaned in. "If we teamed up?" I smiled. "Exactly. If you sign as partners, I can secure the deal. You'll make millions." They didn't hesitate. Greed has a way of blinding people. A week later, they came to my office to sign the paperwork. I watched their pens glide across the pages, their faces filled with excitement. They didn't even read beyond the highlighted lines I showed them. All they cared about was the imaginary payout waiting at the end. When the last signature was done, I slid the contracts back into my folder and shook their hands. "Congratulations. You've just secured your future." Little did they know, they had just signed away everything. I didn't reveal it immediately. No, revenge tastes better when it's cold. I let weeks pass, letting them brag to friends, make plans, and dream about the riches they thought were coming. Meanwhile, I quietly filed the contracts, transferring all legal rights of the estate back into my name.